Hi and welcome back. This canvas is one that I prepped for a different painting 3 years ago, I think, and I forgot what I wanted to paint on it. But it's been lying in my shelf for a while and been moved around, and the surface is a bit scratched, and that color is no longer what I want it to be. So jade green it becomes. I've cut a little bit out here because, yeah, it wasn't all that interesting watching me paint green on green. And I did it partially off camera anyways. So this painting is part of two projects. One is, this is my Mermay contribution, or one of them. Let's see how much I get done. And the other thing is, this year I have determined that I need to use, or preferably use up, some of my stashed art supplies. And my student grade acrylics is part of that. It's mostly because I'm afraid they go bad before I get them used, and I hate art supplies that go bad because that's really useless. It's a waste. So, and I need to practice my acrylic skills. Now, the Galleria paint here from Winsor and Newton, those two silvery tubes you can see, that is a very thick paint. It's probably meant for people who paint more impasto style or with more structure in the paint. I don't. I want to paint flats, so I struggle a bit with it. I could add some water. You saw me add a bit of water when I mix the jade green. And the problem about that is that it thins it out too much, so the pigment doesn't really show. The other hand is I really don't know what to do with thick paints. I should learn to paint impasto style, I guess, but I don't. So I struggle painting thick paint thin. And yeah, and I have a bad habit of mixing colors with my brush because I am a watercolorist and that's what we do. I use that stick now and then when I remember, but yeah. Another thing, this is not realism, as you can probably already rather clearly see. I am trying to let that go a little bit for a while at least, because I won't say I've had an art block. I have had an art refusal for a while where I didn't really want to do art because I got hung up on the realism stuff, and I refused to sit and stare at any more reference photos. And the reason why, there's two or three things in this, but the realism. One is that I'm not very attached to the result when I'm done with a realism piece. It's like, yeah, great, I just copied another photo, which realism basically is. Even if I've sometimes put a couple of three things together, but the result is always the same. It looks like something anybody could have done, anybody with enough skill set to do realism. So I could swap drawings with somebody else who do realism, and nobody would be any wiser as who did it. I could pass somebody else's realism drawing off as my own, and vice versa. So that bothers me a little bit when I do stuff like this. Yes, it is not super high art, but it shows how I draw and paint. And if you put my drawings in a pile with somebody else's drawings, people who have seen my drawings before will be able to pick my drawings from somebody else's. And I think that I missed that. And I can draw and paint better than this. And especially if I have a reference photo, even if I just quickly freehand it without measuring too much, you'll still be able to see that it's my drawing. and I want to embrace that part a lot more, and also just sit down and do something, because when I do realism, I spent 12 hours sometimes finding the right reference photo that works for me for one reason or another. And then I spend hours sometimes on the sketch, or just a few minutes on a trace, because the difference is the same. It's of course more of a pride thing that you can freehand your realism sketch, but what it really is still just a copy of a photo, and it's not super hard to learn to do an accurate copy of something. It's actually harder. This is actually harder to come up with stuff on your own and make it look like something recognizable and still interesting. So yeah, so you might see me try and dive into more something where my personality and my personal style shows through. So yeah, I don't have a lot more to say about this painting. I was just kind of going to do stuff on the way. I struggle with the paint. Her hair was a real struggle. You can laugh about how many times I went back over that. And yeah, I had fun. I hope you will have a little chuckle here and there. Go, oh no, just leave that alone. It's not gonna get better. And see what I put in here. I cannot promise that I will do full Mermay. Well, I won't. That's just not gonna happen. I'm gonna do some. I have one other idea that I want to test. But yeah. So now I'm really running out of things to say. So enjoy the painting, and I hope the music I find is not too bad. It's sped up 4 times because this took me well over 2 hours to do, and I don't expect anybody to spend 2 hours watching me paint. You can mute me and speed up the video on YouTube if you want to watch it even faster. Thank you for watching, and please come back, and I'll see you again. Bye bye.
don't stop. Don't stop. stop.